Hey everybody, welcome to iScoop. It's me and Bastion here again. And as always, Corey's behind the camera. Still working on a setup to get him in here, but...
I need a bigger table.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're two big guys, so...
And somebody asked me when they get to be a guest. We've got 4 mics, 4 headsets. We can have a guest.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin a surprise. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
An exciting secret.
Yeah, Bastion's gonna have strangers in his home.
God.
That's why I want to get in my office. Which got delayed. Not that you guys necessarily care, but there's some big storms and it tore some shingles, and there's a leak in the roof that I was going to put all my expensive equipment in there, so gotta get that patched first.
Oh dear.
Yeah, shouldn't be too much, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So it's been an interesting week. You can draft on Arena. We still haven't seen all the cards from the new Commander precons. We do know everything in the D&D set. So, what's your take on this set as a draft format? Not necessarily the details. You think it's a fun draft format? You think it's a bad one?
It's a lot different from the last couple, to say the least. There's so much more going on. Okay. I feel like I'm still figuring it out. I did 2 sealed pools today, and I did 1 draft, but I haven't played all the games in the draft. I just drafted the deck. And it, I mean, you can tell that it's got people confused every time somebody ventures into the dungeon. There's always a long pause as the opponent is kind of...
I don't know what I do right now.
Yeah, working out what's going on. But it's been a lot of fun. I mean, there are a lot of variables. It's certainly with all of the options that the dungeons have. I'm sure that in Constructed, it's going to be very straightforward. You're going to come in with a plan.
Right.
Most, 90% of the time, with a particular deck, you'll be going into the same dungeon. But in the limited environment, those are real choices every single time.
Oh, yeah.
I had one of my sealed pools had a lot of dungeon venturing, and I hit the quick dungeon, the Fandalar, twice through, and then
Did you skip the room, or did you go through the long way? Long way.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
The other quick dungeon.
Okay.
I went through it twice, and then towards the end game, I had a strong life advantage, and so I switched over and did the, kill everything, sacrifice everything dungeon.
Oh, that's my favorite.
It was, well, I don't know that it would have been good for that deck.
Oh, yeah,
the first 2 times through, but it was great when I was trying to close out the game, because now everybody's losing life every
And then
turn.
you end the dungeon with a win con.
Yeah.
Get your 4/4.
So it's... There's a lot of decisions. I think at some point, we'll start to figure this out. But at the moment, it really it feels like an adventure, which is the goal of D&D, and I would assume probably the goal of Limited in this set.
Yeah. One thing that you said before you reveal our beer for the day, or first one rather, there were a lot of complaints online about just only being 3 dungeons. But how real is it that that's so many choices? Because you're not just playing in this turn, it's a build your own saga. So you're like, it's like, which version of Palinko do I want this to go down for to optimize for me?
Right.
So I think 3 is a good number.
Well, I think 3 is definitely enough.
Yeah.
I mean, in some future set, you make 3 more, and someday, if you're playing Constructed Historic, and you have some cards that are going to reward you for each different named dungeon or something along those lines.
Oh yeah.
Or if you're playing some, massive brain deck, and you want to go through those kind of decisions, but it's just unnecessary. I mean, what happens too is you're looking at the dungeon. I found that most of the time you're only looking, at most 4 turns ahead.
Right.
And even then, that's not always happening.
Yeah. And then you're still gonna have your optimal route, and then you're like, well, if depending on how things go, I can go to Scry too if I'm in a dark spot, but I probably want to just go over here and gain a life and do a thing.
I ended up making some weird decisions just because of, game situations. Like, there were a couple times I took the, make a 1/1 goblin or make 2 1/1 skeletons instead of something, more classically powerful just because...
You need those bodies?
Yeah, the different board states.
Right. That's why those are so good. It's like planeswalkers that are flexible.
Speaking of planeswalkers, Lolth. Holy shit.
Which one's she? Black one or green one?
The black one. The Spider Queen.
The one with the emblem that doesn't sack very well, but still a good card?
Yeah, but you don't need to worry about the emblem. She... So I
want to run through the card real fast for people who don't know what she does?
Yeah, she costs 3 black. Every time one of your creatures dies, she gains 1 loyalty. Her +0 is draw a card, lose 1 life or 2 life. I think it's draw a card, lose 2 life. And then she has a -2 that is create 2 2/1 spiders with reach and menace. And then there may or may not be other text, but it doesn't fucking matter in limited.
Because even if they kill him, you just replace your loyalty.
Yeah, I had an opponent, played Lolth on turn 4, because you can make all sorts of treasures in this set. And it was game. I had a great deck. I had the thing that makes multiple skeletons that keep getting tougher and have trample at the end every turn. It didn't matter. Because Lolth, all you do, you play her, you reduce her by 2, and then she's got 2 blockers. If you kill them, then she can make 2 more blockers. So
yeah, she doesn't get lower. They've got reach, so you can't swoop in.
Right.
You need to play some Sun Quan horsemanship to get through that.
Well, and once they're in play, and you don't have this option of getting through, so say they play any other creature in addition to what Lolth has done.
Now you're going to start creeping her out.
Yeah, well, she grows, or she draws a card. So you draw 2 cards per turn.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, that's kind of the idea of a mythic rare, is that it's going to be a little bit broken in a...
I don't know, man.
In a
Some
sealed
of them
deck.
Modern Horizons 2 mythics were just straight trash.
That's true.
So what? I don't think we went through the...
We did not.
All right.
From Two Tom's Brewery up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, we have Symbol Monkey, India Pale Ale, 7.3% ABV.
And the picture on the can is exactly what you would think. It's a symbol monkey.
It's a Symbol Monkey.
Yeah, they definitely went all out on the marketing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this isn't too bad. Doesn't have too strong of a hopsy taste. I think if you like regular beers, you wouldn't mind this one.
Yeah, it's hoppy, but it's balanced.
It was 7.3% alcohol, so people when they buy these kind of beers, they're like, I don't want to spend that much money for basically 2 beers, but it tastes like the one you like already. It's not bad.
It's true. Yeah, it's good. It's citrusy. I like it.
Yeah.
Two Toms has some good hops.
Mm-hmm. I like the monkey. I was making jokes about it, but the monkey's cool.
The monkey's pretty cool. Some other observations from the day. That attack with 6 power thing.
Oh, raid tactics.
Yeah.
Or swarm tactics?
Pack tactics.
Pack tactics.
Yeah.
One of those.
Something about
Fantastic.
lots of people and then strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun mechanic and an interesting mechanic. I mean, your own cards are luring you into making bad attacks. I felt like it really kind of pressed a premium on combat tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, there are some great benefits on those. The Knoll guy, he keeps getting +1/+1 counters. You got somebody who's making goblins. Somebody else is sending you into the dungeon. I forget what the other one was. I ran into that a lot. In my draft deck, I didn't end up playing that, but in both of my sealed pools, I had a strong element of that.
Right.
And yeah, you want those benefits.
So, I like I'm gonna go on a little
Packtastic.
Yeah, Packtastic. I don't mind it. I'm not overwhelmed with it. It's an okay mechanic. I get what they're going for. My only criticism, and this is just me, wanting the most perfect sets, is I don't think you lose anything by putting the party mechanic in the D&D set, leaving allies in Zendikar, and then bundling these pack tactics as a scalable version. Like, so, you go in with your full party, you don't just get one goblin, you get 4 because you befriended the whole group. Just kind of like you find a pack of goblins, befriend them or fight them. You could tie those flavors in those ways.
The only card in this set that I even have a slight issue with is the green dragon.
Why?
The one that makes all the treasure tokens?
Yeah.
Why is green doing that?
That's green's primary in finding every color mana. That's its primary ability. They're secondary in treasure because they normally do long-standing mana sources.
Yeah, me and Johnny were both saying that. Like, it would be up that.
It would make
good
it would
for,
make
like green, not green, but red.
Yeah, it would
Red
make
or
red
blue.
treasure decks stupid. I agree, but it's not out of color pie. It's like being mad at that blue has wheel effects because discard's better in black. It's just a different way of going about it. Green, it's got to be tied to the creatures for advantage, except for ramp normally. This is tied to your creatures, and it's shitty ramp because it's win more. In green, that card's win more.
This is that legendary green dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Rare one.
the one whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, create that many treasures.
the card that it goes best with is the card that we already have similar combos with, which is that red dragon from, I think, original Zendikar. Pay 5, untap all your creatures, and it attacks
Oh.
again. Because it deals 5 damage, so it's infinite attack steps. And you could already
No, it's pay 7.
pay 7.
Yeah.
Okay, well, does it only untap it, or does it untap?
Untap everything.
Okay, so then
Well,
you
untap all creatures.
still win, and it still goes in your dragon decks. It doesn't really change much. It's hard to look at this set and be like, because you get loot in every color because it's D&D. You're getting loot, and that's what the treasure is. You do the thing, you get loot. So you gotta be careful not to look at it through the lens of, oh, my red treasure matters deck would have loved this, or my red black treasure matters deck would have loved it, because all 5 colors got a little bit of treasure.
I'm seeing it more as green already has the best ramp, so why give it more ramp?
No, you're giving it worse ramp. Like, technically, within Green's color pie, they could have been like, for each point of damage, search your deck for that many basic lands. That'd have been dumb.
That would be even number, yes.
Right. But, like, this is temporary. And it's all artifacts. So what's Green gonna do with artifacts?
Destroy it.
Yeah. They're like, I'm gonna get rid of that shit. It's not that bad. I would say that it's even worse in red, because, like, dude, you give me some artifacts in my red commander decks, I'm doing dumb shit with them.
I thought it was just give me artifacts in blue decks, and I'm gonna do stupid shit.
I've been thinking about making a blue-green commander artifact matters deck.
You gonna put that dragon up?
I probably would. There's the...
What does he do?
For each point of damage a creature you control deals to an opponent, create a treasure token.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So like,
You know what though? That I feel like that effect. It's like the Toski, that squirrel that suddenly makes all of your creatures draw you a card when they deal combat damage, and this to tie this back to the pack tactics is, I feel like the optimal. I guess I don't know how it works out in Commander, but the optimal game plan never seems to work out the way you think it will.
Right. Well, there's in red though, and mono red is not the weakest color, but it's not the strongest color. There's a guy that says sack, I think 5 treasure tokens, search your deck for an artifact, put it in play.
I think it's artifact or dragon, and that was in call up.
Artifact or dragon, you're right.
Yeah.
And so like treasures, dragons, artifacts, all that green dragon You could just change it to red symbols, and it would be immaculate in that deck. And I think that's what people want. They wanted the best version of it, not that effect.
Gotcha.
But what I would really love that dragon with,
I honestly would have just wanted ramp in not green. Like, give it to white. I would be like, okay. At least it gets some decent. At least it gets some ramp.
I think treasures are primary red, secondary black and green.
Oh, I can't remember another time I've seen treasure.
Black's sure making a lot of treasures in this.
It just because they
Format.
haven't gotten very many does not mean that it's not.
No, I can't think of any except
Well,
for that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying just because it hasn't been made yet doesn't mean it's not in its color. It most of the time with green, you're gonna want the permanent land. You don't want the treasure. Fuck a treasure. I'll take a land every day, unless I'm abusing the fact that it's a 0-drop artifact. I'll cut you off. Okay. I'll die on this hill.
What I was going to say about all of those effects, and the one downside of the pack tactics, and I could see it having the pack tactics having trouble gaining traction in the long run, is it works when you are attacking. It does not work
Any other time
at all.
It's a vanilla effect until you're in combat.
Yeah.
So if you don't have haste, you might not even get it.
Yep. So it's like that Aquam Hellhound in Zendikar. It's just like, all right, as long as you are on the constant offensive and you keep throwing lands down, then yeah, that's great. In 70% of all board states,
You weren't around. This was right after you stopped original Zendikar. Or you remember Zoo? In original Zendikar, you got the Geopede and the Step Links.
Vaguely.
So Step Links is 1 white, 0/1, landfall +2/2.
Okay.
We had Wild Nicodle from what's it called? Alara. It's a 1-drop green, +1/+1 if you have a mountain, +1/+1 if you have plains.
That's right.
Kind of like Kurdape.
Yeah.
And then we
I
had
remember that one.
Plated Geopede, first strike, 0/1. For 2, a colorless and red, landfall +2/+2. So like turn 1 you go Step Links, turn 2 you do whatever, Geopede. Turn 3 you might turn one of your other lands into like a Noble Hierarch or not. And then you just play a fetch land and you just crack it and you just swing. Like that deck was winning like turn 3 and 4 consistently.
Wow.
It was awesome.
I missed that coddle.
Yeah, I want
It's probably close tier wise to Call Blade.
oh yeah. That was
I think Call Blade was still tier 0.
yeah, because if with zoo decks, I think people just call them tempo now. Well, no, there's the domain zoo. Anyway, the point is, if you don't draw in sequence, you're shat on.
Yeah.
Now, most control decks, you could also call a mid-range deck, which means everything's turn 3-ish. So there's not a wrong order to draw it in, there's just less optimals.
Yeah.
Like, but when half your deck's 1-drops, then you got some 2-drops. Unless you're playing on Arena, you're not going to draw them in order. And that was a shot at Arena. Get rid of the fucking...
Exclusively in the best of one.
Yeah.
Well, sort
The
of.
shuffler?
Yes, the shuffle.
Yeah.
The best of one shuffler, especially. The other shuffler, occasionally, it gets excited about a card. You know?
Yeah.
You get just like...
What was yours? Dictate of Erebos, and you just got it every game. No matter
Yeah.
what.
It was
1-drop.
really... It was weird. In my my deck building, when... Might have been when Zendikar first came out. When we first got our rogues. When we first got the really sexy Dimir rogues.
Mm-hmm.
And put a rogues deck together. It was killing it. It was best of one, so almost every hand you would have at least a Thieves Guild Enforcer for 1 black or the Merfolk Wind Robber for 1 blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept getting escaped by all the big escape creatures.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, I need I need a nice one drop. I didn't know about Cling to Dust. Somehow I missed that one. I picked up Erebos Revenge. Anyway, same X and 1 is the casting cost, so it's still a one drop.
Right.
All of a sudden, every single game, the shuffler was giving me Erebos' Revenge. I never saw another Merfolk Windrobber or Thieves Guild Enforcer. It was just like, here's your one drop. Here's your one drop.
Yeah, dude. That's stupid.
Great. I have one of these in my deck, or maybe two of these in my deck, and every single game it's in my opening hand, as well as nothing else I want.
Right. Now that said, red deck wins with all that. That's got to be all right. Get your lightning bolts every game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of
works
red,
out for them.
Speaking of red,
We're not getting that dragon in red.
no,
Oh.
the drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, check this drink out. So this is one of the 450 North slushies. This one,
Yeah, they posted a new one.
PB and J.
I'm excited about
Blackberry, banana, grape, peanut butter, and marshmallow.
this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make the bold claim. Bananas are very strong flavor, even if it seems dull.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if this is gonna be banana with some like.
The banana always does seem to stick out in the 450 slushies.
Yeah.
Banana in general always does anyway.
Yeah, it's a really strong flavor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, in my protein shakes, I'm working out again.
that's why I throw them into smoothies.
Yeah.
Just very, very low.
You're right. Like I'll eat half the banana before I throw it in the shake, just so it doesn't overpower it.
Bananas are delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like shit.
It smells like bread. So I love 450. This isn't on the top of my ordering list.
Oh, goddamn. So, if this is the first one of these that you've seen, or if you've never had any 450 North beers, learn nothing from this. They make,
Oh yeah.
first of all, they make incredible IPAs. Double
And I like the
IPAs,
texture.
triple IPAs.
And for those keeping track at home, this is the first one Bastion's given me more of than him. And I'm not complaining, but that tells you something.
Yeah. They also make phenomenal pastry stats. What they do with these slushies is...
Well,
and they do this
how
every
much is
month.
going on in that one though?
Oh, yeah.
It's fighting for your taste buds.
They do it every month. They take this Berliner Weiss, so kind of a light, tangy beer, and then they grind up. I mean, it's essentially they do about 11 experiments per month,
Mm-hmm.
and they grind up everything that there is. I've got one that's blackberry, blackberry, blackberry. You heard the ingredients of this one.
Yep.
There are some that are essentially just like a bunch of Oreos. Some of them are, banana, the flavonoids from marijuana plants. I mean, it is across the board. Many of them, just some of the out of the park, craziest, tastiest beverages I've had.
So,
Every now and then, they
hey, you know what?
some shit in a glass.
Break a few omelets to get an egg or whatever that saying is.
Oh.
So it reminds me of like a Now and Later. Like nothing great.
Wow.
I don't think it's that bad. Like I said, it's not at the top of my ordering list, but
Yeah. No offense. Hey, it's the advantage of not being sponsored.
what was their new one they've got coming out? I forget.
Just today was the ordering for another 13 beers. One of them was a blueberry pie.
Yeah, that's
graham
what it was.
graham crackers, blueberry, etc. Cinnamon. Oh, they've had some phenomenal slushies. Some absolutely hell. We've drunk a couple of the
Yeah, we have.
really great
But there's a
slushies.
Pokemon themed one.
Yeah, they had a whole Pokemon set, and then since they've done the Pokemon set, they've been releasing cards.
What?
What they are is the beer has these
Tab
pictures
collab.
of,
Yeah.
what appear to be like Pokemon cards on them.
Yeah, dude. I just like now, mind you, I am a newbie beer snob, connoisseur. Bastion, as a professional lawyer, has a black belt in alcoholism. And so he's got a little bit more seniority on me. He's the one who introduced me to 450, and it's definitely a treat. Like I said, I don't hate this one. It's not on my top. But I did not know they did Pokemon. You didn't tell me they did nerd stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get a hold of them.
Over in my fridge, I think I've got 4 or 5 of the cards still. I mean, it's hard to hang on to them because I drink them.
Do you keep some of the cans?
No, but I can hang on to
The Pokemon ones?
the card cans from now on.
Yeah. I think it'd be neat in our backdrop,
Yeah.
getting some cans of
Could have a big wall of them.
like the ones that we've tried.
Yeah. Has Corey, I can't see, has he gotten the thing so he can give us a special backdrop yet?
He has the technology, but also not the desire. But this could be whatever background we want now. I've seen him do it. There'll be a little bit of the real world right here.
It would have to be like before we even start.
Right, so not on this episode.
Not on
But
this.
one day we can just fake where we're at.
Yeah.
We could even be in front of us on a previous episode.
Oh, that would be very special.
Yes.
You could even be doing this podcast in front of the White House.
Wow. It would feel very official.
Yeah.
We'd need gold bracelets.
Or,
something.
just stay on theme. We could just change to a random plane.
Yeah, we could planeswalk with every beer we drink.
Yeah, let's do the podcast in the meditation realm.
Yeah.
I don't think the marshmallow is meshing very well with the blackberry. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think there's some. It might be the peanut butter itself. I really like when they put marshmallow in here. You know what? I got an idea. Because it's an injustice to talk so much about 450 beer not being great for all the fantastic beers they've got. So let me go.
And this one,
I'm gonna go grab a marshmallow one.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down, and I'm just gonna say it's not bad. Ignore Bash. He likes beer for beer. This is a dessert. It is super sweet. It's got like 7 different kinds of sugar. And I'm a fat man, so I'm down with sugar. I don't eat a whole pack of now and laters. It's rich. And there's just got a lot going on.
All right, here we go. Slushmallow. Lollipop fluff. This has marshmallow, cherry, pineapple, and blood orange.
And bloods of our enemies.
The blood of our enemies.
Blood of our enemies? Oh my god, that's a metal band song name.
Yeah, that really is.
I'll never forget. Corey, what's your favorite I Wrestled a Bear Once song?
I've never actually really listened to them.
Oh my god. Mine is Corey Feldman Holocaust.
What the hell?
They also have such great hits as Vlork, Mighty Wielder of Sheep, Tastes Like Kevin Bacon. What's some of the other ones? Alaskan Flounder Basket, that's a good song. In the music video, all their guitarists have inflatable guitars. And then she's in like jazzercise. They have a female vocalist. Great band. You, as a guitar player, might like it, that some of their riffs are blended arpeggios put together. Like, it's not just chaos like it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like they go, this arpeggio, that one, this one, that one, this one, that one. And they just go.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's neat.
Nice.
Yeah, their solos are cool. Really resonates with some old school Yngwie Malmsteen. Yeah.
He always impressed me. Primarily in his name, but also in his guitar.
I agree. Oh no, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's like the opposite of what we just had.
Slushmallow. I had 3 cans of it to start with. I sipped one, I moved the other 2 to my top shelf. That's the end of the final one.
Ooh, well,
But,
thank you for sharing that treat with me.
You are welcome.
You could have been selfish and hid that greatness.
Could have been. But yeah, so the 450 slushies are exciting, but because they're all experiments.
Oh, yeah, that's half the fun. Like,
Right.
who would just mass produce a PB&J beer?
Yeah.
Uh,
Good question. Now there's plenty of stouts and porters that have peanut butter in them that really work because they've already got kind of a cocoa flavor, so you get this kind of Reese's Cup esque.
And then Lauren from 450, if you see this episode first, please check out the other ones.
Normally it's a bunch of praise.
Yeah.
It ended in praise.
Oh yeah.
So the party mechanic we were talking about, being in Zendikar and not being in this, and I guess I have a couple of thoughts. One, I think that was a good preview for this, a good kind of primer of
ties a cohesive.
Yeah, hey, you like
those...
D&D, start getting pumped. We're moving in that direction.
And then that lets them like free up tieflings for tiefling and stuff because they don't have to cram all the other creature types.
Right, absolutely. Another thing that I am kind of thinking is party. I'm glad that it is not in this set. I think that you have so many with the dungeon going on. I'm not remembering what the other. I've played 2 sealed pools in one day, so we're not drawing from the deepest well here.
Right, that's fair.
But you have so many different things going on. You've got these dungeons going on, they're not necessarily the most complicated, but it's more stuff to remember. It's more.
I agree.
There's things that are not just obvious.
There's
not
a lot of accounting.
Creatures. Exactly, and I think party is a difficult mechanic because it's not indicated anywhere on the board.
Right.
The only indication is when you count up each creature, and then when you count up your opponent's creatures and figure out how close each of you are to party. Don't add that. You're both already making progress on these outside of the game adventure sheets. The last thing you need to add to that is, wait, that's 2 clerics and 2 fighters, so that's only 2 party members.
Yeah. So, mind you, for that swap to even work, you have to totally redo each set, because those are both core mechanics to the sets. But in my head, the way this works, because I don't have it fully fleshed out, I'm not a designer, I don't even need to. So just an idea, it's not even a criticism. So, we had Eldraine leading up to Zendikar. And then we had like Robber of the Rich and some other rogues. And then we had the Merry Party, the enchantment that was the Robber of the Rich's Merry Men, right? And it would create tokens that was 3/4 of the party mechanic. But if you were to put the previews for the party mechanic in Zendikar, you could, because allies were they replaced allies with the party mechanic. You could have had an ally cleric or whatever, and then in this set, your dungeon could have been your Build-A-Bear for your party. A goblin rogue. Create a goblin rogue token.
Yeah.
A skeleton, I don't know, barbarian or whatever it is. Like, and then now I don't have to force all these different type lines in my deck.
Yeah.
If I'm doubling down on what D&D is, nest it into the dungeons of like finding, or make, instead of a dungeon, also have a village. So before you do a dungeon, you go and you recruit a party.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But mind you, infinity that is D&D means an infinite ways of representing it. So
that is a really great idea, actually, what you're saying there about building your party through the dungeon. And, you know, maybe they can do that in a future D&D set. I guess I have one other thought about why I'm kind of glad that party was in a previous set and not in this one.
Okay.
Is this set is very D&D.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is so just so filled with D&D. All of the stuff is D&D stuff. All of the, and you have the dungeons. In addition to all that, it still needs to, in some ways, feel like Magic. You still need to be playing Magic, and I feel like with a mechanic-like party that, again, like I said, it's hard to keep track of.
Right. Yeah.
It's not just, hey, I'm playing Magic and this thing's working out for me, like something like Trampled or +1/+1 counters might be.
Right.
Instead, it's actually, I am thinking differently. I am stopping every 3 minutes to recount all the creatures. I think if you had the dungeons, you had all this D&D, and then you also had that, I think you would be running the risk of people feeling like, maybe the hardcore D&D fans would be like, awesome, it's
right. Yeah.
But you would run the risk of feeling like they ran away with it.
Yeah.
Of kind of a Star Wars thing, like where anytime there's a new idea in Star Wars and everybody cries and fucking tries to kill each other, you don't want to create that where it's just like, oh my god, there's
right.
Someone is not related to Luke Skywalker. I want to, I'm gonna go argue with
that
my mom
fan
for
base
16
is full
hours.
of cannibals. They'll eat each other alive.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was one thing that I noticed that was enjoyable, but I think maybe adding party would have made it a little too much. Man, I feel like I played D&D today.
Yeah.
Between the flavor on the lands, between all of the different items and equipment and classes and dungeons and dragons.
Speaking of the classes, there's one that I feel like might be a staple for any new deck.
The one that starts with you have no hand size?
Yeah.
It's not bad. I like it. Doesn't it top out with returning an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to hand?
I think.
It's still
the first two.
One's divination
is what you really want.
Yeah. So no max hand size. It's a turn 1 drop in a control deck. You're probably not doing anything turn 1.
Yeah.
You might be sitting on Dispel for the aggro, but right now in modern control, turn 1, you're just putting a Chalice of the Void out in case your opponent's fucking, as foretold, they just auto lose. I've watched it on freaking Mitgo. Like, it's hilarious when an entire matchup can be negated by playing an XX as 0/0 and watching your opponent die inside. But that's neither here nor there.
That's a card I need.
What I'm excited about with Class is that's a mechanic that can go to other planes.
Yeah.
So if we go back to Strixhaven, I want to be in the Lorehold class. And then so now you're a Lorehold student, so level 1 is this.
Heck, the class...
You could do it for the clans of Tarkir.
Yeah, I was also gonna say, you could do that with the Ravnica guild as well.
Oh yeah, dude, that enchantment type?
That's also a thematic return to Magic's roots. I mean, until Mirrodin, it was you versus your opponent.
Right.
And if you had a sword, there were swords, but they weren't equipment, they were things that you would use.
Right.
And ever since equipment became a thing, I mean, there's still direct damage spells that can be aimed at the face.
Right.
But Magic has felt a lot more
sending armies at each other.
Yeah, like a Warcraft kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't even actually exist in this game. It's just 2 armies fighting, and they could be attacking a stronghold if they want. But having the class in there, and class could kind of, it could certainly develop into guild or actual class.
So one thing that you touched up on incidentally, you talked about how you don't even feel like you're a planeswalker in the game. So I heard a while back that the stranger, the wanderer is supposed to represent the unnamed planeswalker, which is typically you.
The wanderer is the person in a cloak that you can have as your avatar in Arena.
Yeah, and like she was in War of Spark.
Oh.
Her passive is prevent all non-combat damage, and then I think she neg-2s exile target tapped creature.
Yeah.
And she comes in with 5, and she's a 5 cast. She's pretty good in limited.
Sounds like it.
But so I don't know. I know you haven't. Corey, remember the Yu Yu Hakusho card game?
Vaguely, I probably played it like most.
All right, so they did a few things where they had like the shinobis, the 5 shinobis. You couldn't see them in the art because they're ninjas. Well, then later they did a character that was just a silhouette, and it was you, right? And then it's like, I want a planeswalker that is me, the planeswalker of me, and I'm pretty sure they've got avatar of me in the unset, where it's like characteristics is based off how tall you are, your shoe size.
Oh, that's funny.
I want a planeswalker, maybe a module dual face, and it's both like split halves of the color pie, and I get to pick me and play around it. I think that'd be cool, because you're right, it doesn't feel like we're in it anymore.
Right.
We're not the planeswalkers casting spells, or the war leader. We're almost the commander.
Yeah.
Which that might be a good segue into. We've got, at this moment, as of recording, by the time you see it, the other card will have been shown. But we've seen the 4 commanders. We have not seen all of the new stuff. So if you have not seen the spoilers as of this video, you can check out Command Zone, MTG Goldfish, MTG Mudstop, and Loading Ready Run. But, so the 4 commanders, we've got...
Are these not on the mothership?
I don't know.
They might be.
I like going to the original sites. This is mtgrocks.com. Give them that extra traffic. So the first one we got is Sephiroth of the Hidden Ways, which is Esper, white, blue, black, 2/3 legendary creature, human wizard. So you can't mutate on. Whenever one or more creature cards are put in your graveyard from anywhere, venture into the dungeon. This ability triggers only once each turn. That alone was good. That could have been it. And then it's got create undead whenever you complete a dungeon. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. I immediately thought, I don't remember the name of the dungeon, but you know my favorite dungeon.
Yep.
Where it rewards me for sacking things.
Yeah.
Now, the hard once per turn I don't like, but it
Tomb
says,
of Annihilation.
Yeah, Tomb of Annihilation. Sorry. No, you're fine. But the important thing, if you're building a Sephiroth, the Hidden Ways, is just because it triggers once per turn doesn't mean it only resolves once per turn. So if you have ways of duplicating the ability on the stack, you only need to copy it 4 times to complete that dungeon. 3 if you really want to, or 2, you only need to copy it 3 times to complete it the cool way. You can copy it 2 times to complete it the way where you like eat shit.
Yeah.
And then if you got that set up, you do it every turn.
While Tesa, I think maybe Rings of Brightheart.
Yeah. And then Strionic Resonator,
Yeah.
copy target triggered ability.
Yeah.
And then there's plenty of ways. Let's see. In the Rakdos deck, we've got Prosper Tomebound, 2 colorless black red. Legendary creature, Tiefling Warlock, 1/4 Death Touch. That's okay. Mystic Arcanum at the beginning of your end step. Exile the top card of your library until end of your next turn. You may play that card. Not bad. And then it's got Pact Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. So, when I saw this guy revealed, I immediately thought of the Modern Horizons Storm card that says, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next turn. So you've got that. You've got Bergie. What's the commander version of Bergie that came out in the red-blue deck?
Oh, I can't even remember.
Well, Corey, write this timestamp down. Here it is. This card I can't remember. It's in the precon. It's like Strixhaven precon. So red-blue, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, add 1 red mana to your mana pool or something like that. Oh no, you create a treasure token.
Okay.
But
Wasn't that like Thunder Collector or something?
Maybe. We know. The real answer, though, is it's right here.
I could just put...
You could do anything you want. You have the power of a god when you're editing the video. Alright. Next, we've got a... Oh, but anyway, you could do some fun storm stuff with that deck. Next, we got Gallia, Kindler of Hope. Colorless and Bant, so green, white, blue. Legendary creature, Elf Knight, 4/4, Vigilance. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast an aura and equipment spells from the top of your library. When you cast an equipment spell this way, it gains. When this equipment enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature. I thought it was interesting this one didn't have any flavor titles.
No.
So, like, the other ones got Create Undead or
Right.
Mystic Arcanum. Look at the top card of your deck. Military Foresight, or,
That is a little weird, though the text is kind of filling every nook. They might have had to change the font size if they were going to stuff that in.
There's a joke there, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And then we've got... You want to read it? I've bogarted
No,
it.
go ahead.
Verondis, Rage of Ancients. 3 colorless, red-green, 5/4. Legendary creature, Dragon Barbarian. What are they called in D&D? Is it Dragonborn? Dragonkin?
Draconian?
Draconian? That's how they're representing him. They're just giving him the dragon creature type.
Okay.
And it's got Enrage. Whenever Verondis, Rage of Ancients is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token with. When this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. Whatever you roll 1 or more dice, you may have Verondis deal 1 damage to itself. Love it. That card's so fun. Him with Where Ancients Tread, that's going to be cool. Then you have Where Ancients Tread, and I do believe Impact Tremors lets you deal 1 damage to any target.
Yeah.
So I could do, put a 5/4 into play, deal you 5, deal them 1. Put a 5/4 into play, deal you 5, deal them 1. And just deal each person 15 damage, or one person 15 damage every turn easily.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. There's... So good. So good. Love it. One of these days, I'm going to get you to build a commander deck.
One of these days.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
They've got Brawl on Arena.
we don't need to buy Commander. We've got Commander at home.
Yeah.
Brawl. Jesus. That format was just trying to appease people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Now, that said, I'm glad they tried. 1, you've always got to try. 2, we got Chulane out of it. Teller of Tales, one of my favorite commanders.
3, we got Arcane Signet.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think Brawl's bad. Someday, if they get some extra money, they'll develop a way to do multiplayer on Arena. And then Brawl will become Commander.
It will. It really would.
They never did that for MTGO, though, did they?
No.
So that might not be on the way.
One of the things that I think Brawl struggles with is, like, when I was on a hiatus for Magic, I used to say when I quit, but I now know the truth.
There is no quitting.
I saw the Brea Precon, and Brea is not green. She's 4 colors, and she's not green. She's Artifact, and she's based from Alara, lore-wise. Alara's my favorite block. And so, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the plot of Alara, but basically...
Did we ever go back to Alara?
No, not yet, but it's one of the most... The reason why is because it's hard to design a set where the core functionality defining trait of the set was ruined.
Yeah.
Same with Cons.
Right.
Which was also a wedge set. So the premise was the plane was split into 5 different planes, each mini plane was missing 2 colors.
And it was specifically designed around the colors it was missing rather than simply the synergy. So
Right.
Esper was a plane of perfect order. Even the clouds were subdivided in the artwork. Beautiful, beautiful lands for Esper.
Mm-hmm. And
not just simply
Right.
what's common amongst blue, black, and white, but specifically, what if you had a world with no red,
Right.
with no
With no
green?
chaos
Yeah.
and no natural order of things, no rule of the land. And then, but with red and green comes destruction of artifacts. And so it was besides Kaladesh, the other inventor plane. That's where Tezzeret comes from. So, Brea is an Esper mage experimenting with red mana.
Okay.
And
That's wild idea.
oh yeah, I loved it. Like I wasn't even into Magic at the time, and I saw that deck, and I'm like, that's so elegant. Like they add red mana, and all of her abilities are. What if I destroy this? What can I do with it? It's pay 2, sack 2 artifacts. Target player gains 5 life. Deal 3 damage
Any target.
to any opponent.
To any, but I thought it was any target.
And then the other one's -4 target creature. And so it's the experimental phase, which is red. Curiosity, passion, drive. So I bought that. This is what I'm coming back to Brawl. And I sat on it because I wasn't playing Magic. And then eventually they came out with the Daretti Precon, which is where Planeswalkers could be your commanders the first time. And I looked at the list and I was like, oh, there's a lot of artifacts in here. I'm just going to buy it in case I ever want to play with Brea. I'm going to put the good ones in there. And then 3 years later, I started playing Magic. And I had 2 Precons. I just took 50 out of each. And I know the math doesn't add up. That's not the point, but you get the idea. Man, that beer's bubbly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give me the bubbles. But yeah, you lose that with Brawl. You can't just like passively.
You want a blue moon?
I love Blue Moon. He cares. Put it in the
There you go.
alchemy glass. A little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of pineapple.
A little bit of blue moon.
Yeah.
I like blue moon best from a can.
I like it off the tap more.
I would say I like can, tap, bottle.
Well, that's new.
Yeah, a little sediment.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like it best out of a can, honestly, is you can see the sediment in the bottom of the bottle. With the can, you get more surface area for the sediment to touch the beer. There's a lot of flavor in the sediment. And I think that's why what I have started doing, I didn't do with these, but with my Blue Moons, I'd kind of roll them around a little bit when they were in a sealed format. Played too much Magic, and now I'm trying to describe beer.
Not a limited format,
Yeah.
a sealed format.
In a sealed format, as opposed to a draft. But the more contact it gets with that sediment, the more delicious that it gets. That said, draft beer, there's something about it. I think a lot of it has to do with the shape of the bottle and
Right.
The kind of air getting through it. But yeah,
Gotta love it. Let's see how much time we got left.
Corey's giving
All right.
us
So we got.
sign language.
We're getting close to near the end. We don't have to force this. We don't want to. What do you think? Have we missed anything?
Have we missed anything?
I mean, you didn't talk about your draft deck very much.
I only got to play one game with it. I was digging through the dungeon. I will say, and again, this is such a small well. Okay. Bombs have felt more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe this set is a lot more about synergy, stuff like the dungeon, where you have these powerful effects, and so everything is a little bit muted so that you can work on your synergy. And I feel like maybe that has offset bombs a little bit. I haven't had any incredible bombs. in my card pools so far. But I mean, my first sealed pool went X and 2.
Right.
My second one didn't do as well, partially because I ran into a turn 4 lull that just ended the game.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But I guess that's kind of the point that I'm making, is I have had very strong synergistic decks, and most games have felt like a war between my synergy and my opponent's synergy. But the few times that someone has dropped a lull or dropped... I'm having trouble remembering now. It's been a couple of years in. But I think in a strong synergy format like that, when you have a card that is just plain beast on its own, it's a little harder to overcome. That'll probably play a much more major role in sealed than in draft, and that's kind of always the nature of sealed. Is
right.
But do whatever you have to do to get your bombs into the deck.
So I haven't done any limited format for this set yet, but when I was looking at it, it reminds me of War of Spark in that a lot of creatures have staggered power and toughness. Meaning, I don't remember if I decided 3/3 or 4/4. I think it was if you have a 4/4 out, you're basically a god in terms of like limited. Meaning most people's like low rarity threats, unless it's like a 6 or 7 cast, you're gonna be able to trample most of them.
Yeah.
But like, like with Lawlith, they're 2/1s, die to 1/1s. So like anything that can generate 1/1s regularly will keep her at a standstill. But if you have 3/3 tramplers, she's not even a threat at all.
Right.
But it's neither here nor there.
The modal cards also are taking some getting used to.
Right.
That enchantment that makes the little skeletons. My opponent played one, and then I played one. We were about to have a war of the skeletons, but then he played some effect that would not naturally be in a best of one format because
it was on a modal card.
Yeah, what the fuck? But it was on a modal card, so he just immediately killed my skeleton thing, and then he ended up winning with his skeleton thing.
Yeah.
So that's even if you are very good or very experienced in the limited format, I think that this is going to be a big opportunity to kind of grow and reassess. You got a lot of new effects like dungeons that are just going to naturally push you, but then other more subtle things like the addition of all these modal cards. I mean, there are a lot of ways to destroy artifacts and enchantments now. It's going to be
because it's
less
all stapled onto something else that you'd run for your deck.
Exactly.
So people are just by default. So creatures have more value.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So those are my observations. The format after less than a day.
All right. Well, I think that's all I've got. If you've got nothing else, I think we can sign off here.
Guess that.
All right. And once again, if this is your first video, don't let the PB&J ruin 450 North for you.
We love 450.
Fucking phenomenal beer.
Yep. And a great brew pub.
I haven't been there yet, so I can't say that with sincerity.
Once a month, my friend Chip and I need someone to drive down there to pick up our beer orders. So if you ever want to try it out.
Yeah, might do that. All right, well, if we got nothing else, Corey, any final thoughts?
Streaming every Fridays for Magic.
You want to put a link to your channel right here with a little preview thing of you doing an F&M thing?
Sure, I can.
Yeah, if you do that and not the other thing, he's fired. Because I can't fire you because you're my only editor.
Put a picture of your face.
They don't even know what you look like unless they go to your channel.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he puts a little clip there, I don't know if it's still playing.
Do you want to know what Corey looks like? Comment down below.
If you already know what it looks like. Hi, Stan.
Well,
Stan
that's all for this game. What's next?
iScoop.